you go with the recommendation that's in the packet, you pull it, we'll go back and do a process. It may end up being a collaboration with the Daily Times Herald. It may be a collaboration with some other firm locally, or maybe even out of state, going back to the CGI firm that originally approached us. So that's option one, where you go through a process to find someone that wants to do this type of project. Option two is, you remove it from consent agenda, and frankly, we would proceed forward with what the action was at the last council meeting, and that's a collaboration with the Daily Times Herald. I mean, those are kind of the two options right now.
I'll give it a shot. I move that we pull it and proceed and follow through on the motion that passed at the June 26th meeting.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Base?
Yes.
Haley?
No.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cox?
No.
Dirks?
No.
Fleshner?
Yes.
3-3 tie.
Fails, so it stays on the consent agenda. Correct?
You can break the tie with motions.
Oh, that's right. Doggone it.
Pressure.
I'm going to say yes, because I was very comfortable with the project to begin with, so.
Okay, so it is removed from the consent agenda.
My motion was to remove it and to stand by the
What we had
motion that
originally
passed at the June 26th meeting, which was a 4-0 decision.
And I'll move to approve the consent agenda. The amended consent agenda, that's correct.
That's correct.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second for the amended consent agenda. Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
I apologize, I'm unclear on what we're voting on.
This is to vote on the amended consent agenda, which removed the community video collaboration item.
Oh, yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Are there any oral requests and/or communications from the audience on things that are not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to the ordinances, and the first ordinance this evening is the sidewalk regulations. And Mike. Oh, Randy, yeah, well, this is you.
It's me. Thank you, Mayor and Council. At your June 26th meeting, the council had a discussion on sidewalks in general. One of those items was an ordinance that expressly imposed liability on the repair and maintenance of sidewalks to the abutting property owners. Council reviewed the ordinance at that time and directed staff to bring the ordinance back for first reading at tonight's meeting. Other than a few technical small changes, the ordinance presented at your last meeting is the same that's included in the packet. With that, staff is recommending the council consider conducting the first reading of the attached ordinance. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you for that, sending that other one with the red.
Yeah.
That helps a little bit more. So I knew what was added in there. I didn't.
So Dave, is this basically making this ADA compliance is what you're doing here?
Well, we've added an extra requirement under the defective, or an added item under the defective sidewalk, which would make sidewalks that have to be ADA compliant. That would be one of the items. I would say primarily, the large purpose for this change is the fact that there's been a couple of Supreme Court cases that have said maintaining sidewalks is a little different than clearing snow and ice off your sidewalk. There is a state statute that says owners of the property are liable if they fail to remove snow and ice. That's right in the state statute. But maintaining your sidewalk, there's no similar state law that requires that or says you're liable for the maintenance of your sidewalk. So the cases have indicated and kind of directed cities that if you want to hold property owners liable for their lack of maintenance of their sidewalks, you got to put it specifically in your ordinance, that they are responsible for maintenance and liable. So I think that would be the major portion of this change. Some of the changes to the snow and ice paragraph, we kind of just wanted to try to match up the two paragraphs and have similar language between the maintenance and the snow and ice removal. I think it obviously makes sense from the city point of view. You know, we're trying to eliminate or at least minimize liability for the city. There have been a number of, I know there's a number of cities around the state that have made this type of amendment. So that we're not the first, nor will we be the last to make the change.
That was my understanding, is other communities are starting to do this.
Yeah.
I know at a meeting I was at with ICAP, they've recommended their members to do this. ICAP's our insurance company, and so it's a recommendation they're making to their members.
So now if the repairs need to be made, maintenance repairs type thing, the homeowner is going to have to follow the compliance of the ADA, American Disabilities Act.
Correct.
Okay. And they will be able to acquire that information from where?
Randy would have that information.
Randy has it, okay.
City staff would have all that information.
So if there is that one individual who wants to go out and be proactive, they can get that from the city engineering department.
Right.
Okay.
I think the one line that you have to look at here is, it says that the city may access the cost and all that. It doesn't say the city will. So, you know, we're not forcing the people to do this by the word may in there. Okay.
Right. Yeah, we'd have some flexibility with that,
Okay.
for that language.
May or shall.
Right.
Any other questions with regards to the sidewalk regulations? If not, I will seek a motion to introduce and waive the first reading of the sidewalk regulation ordinance.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bates? Yes. Cox?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Then this will come back to the next meeting again too, correct? Our first resolution this evening is the City of Carroll grant application for the Carroll Recreational Trails, the 2017 application. Resolution to approve the REAP grant application, and Jack. And I think you also need, if you want to talk about that trail on Veterans Park, because I think both of them kind of go together a little bit.
Yes.
That's fine, please.
You bet. Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is a resolution similar to what we did last year for the REAP grant. The current trail system that we're working on, construction hopefully is going to start in the next 2 weeks on Grant Road, East 18th Street, that connection. We received $122,000 for that. The maximum we could have received was $125,000. So the REAP grant, we are considering reapplying for this. It is for the trail that would extend north from where our existing trail now ends at Veterans Park at that sidewalk. We're going to go north of that sidewalk up to adjacent to the residential housing lot there, come across the street onto the golf course, and then up along the golf course past the two entrances, 2 or 3 entrances to the school's property, and ended there at 30th Street. So that would be what the REAP grant would be applied for. We would ask for the maximum $125,000 again. We were funded last year, so the committee seems like they like our project. Not saying definitely we'll get funded again, but We were funded the first section, so it would look pretty favorable that we'd get funded for the continuous part of this trail connection with that. So at that point, I would say maybe let's hold off on approving the resolution, talk about what the project is that would go towards the REAP grant. Under reports, so trail from Veterans Park to East 30th Street, or 30th Street connection, there is a map in your packet that kind of shows two options for the trail. They're relatively close in price, but they are different. They're obviously different. The first one, if you look at the purple line, actually both of them are similar. They're going up over the golf course. There would probably be at least two trees. One of them looks like it's dead. But there would be two trees taken out. We'd come up onto the berm of the golf course there. That was built for flood control, flood issues that we've continued still to have after all the work with that. It would continue up on the berm, and then when you get down and then you curve and you get close to the green that's right there, 13 green. Talking with the engineer today, it's about 40 feet from the green. You'd be 40 feet southeast of the green. And then that's really where the two different prices, option 1 and option 2, change. Option 1 is an off-street trail. It is up on top, similar to what we're going to have by the school and that farm property right there on Grant Road. We're off the road. There's going to be a little section, and then the trail. That's what this would be with option A, or option 1. I try to explain that more, but basically you'd come over, you'd be up about the same height as the road, but you'd be 4 to 5 feet off the road with the 10-foot trail. Option 2 is, there's a picture, Shine Hattery provided a picture. It would be part of the existing trail that's there now. I believe that trail's 4 feet, so you'd have, that'd basically be the line, the concrete buffer there, and then the trail would continue right there. So they're relatively close, but there's a little bit of a difference, and the difference being the buffer. Option 1, you don't need the buffer. Option 2, you would need the buffer.
So this is where your REAP grant would be for this project here?
Yes.
Okay.
If so chosen by the council. If this is your priority, if you think this is the next section of our Trails Master Plan to go after, then yes. Cost estimates, you have those. They're attached to the second part of the memo. Option 1, $655,000. Option 2, $665,000. So they're relatively close, but there's $10,000 difference. So yeah, we hope to get $125,000. I asked Laura last week to provide with me kind of a revenue expense estimate. The current project we're doing right now, we have revenue of $1,084,000 roughly. That's between hotel motel tax, local option sales tax, and geo debt, and a little bit interest on some of the earnings from those monies. So we have about $1,084,000. Right now, to date, with Shive Hattery, we've engineered about $133,000 for the trails and in that project. Construction costs, which you have approved at a previous meeting, of $606,000, and some miscellaneous. We had some tree removal, if you remember, on the south side trail. Total expense, $744,000. So for this project, of the $600,000, right now there's $340,000 available, and we'll try for some other grants. There's some other possibilities. We'll work with Region 12 and come back with a plan on some of the other grants to get, but there is a shortfall, and this would be money that's currently in our 18 budget. So at this point, I think we're really looking to apply for the REAP grant, if this is what we want to do, get that. In the process of going, look at where the additional funds might come at a later meeting, and then really decide if that's where you want to go. And if this is the trail you want to do, then I'd say we come back with a contract from Shad Hattery, a proposal for you to review to, go to design for that additional trail. Our hopes is we connect this part of the trail, and then we do some, in that be the next year, you look at doing some improvements to the north trail right there south of the school, middle school, soccer fields, baseball, softball fields. That's an 8-foot trail, and then you do come adjacent to the road again, so maybe we look at coming across the road and get it all off-road, making it 10-foot, redoing it with that. And then you start looking at coming on the west side of the golf course and get down to the clubhouse. But that's a year, 2 years off, but those are just some of the plans. I have had parents, other people come to me and say it'd be nice out at the baseball, softball fields. I mentioned this briefly at a previous council meeting, that if you had some type of loop around the baseball fields and soccer fields, that when kids are out practicing baseball, softball, soccer, you could walk a loop, and that would be another item. But that's for future.
What did we get last year from this?
For the REAP?
Yeah.
122,000.
Got 122,000.
We were the last. They funded 7 in the medium. They have large cities, which has over $1 million worth of money. Medium cities, which we are, there's about 800,000 for that. And we were the last project that got approved, and we had whatever was left over, which was 122.
And when you make the application, you can state what we have done or what we're currently doing
Yeah.
to add in the fact that we're putting this to use.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And I did bring, just in case there was, Greg, watch out. I blocked out the dollar amounts because this was a couple years ago, but you have this trail, and that's what we're doing, the green section right now, to right here. Oh gosh, coming across the street and over there. So that would be the trail up here, or you could look at going behind the houses again. Again, this one property north of the parking lot in Northeast Park, trying to acquire that could be a challenge, but then going on the east side in Northeast Park, and then down by the assisted living would be another section to look at if you didn't like the current one we're talking about.
Any questions with regards to the application for the trails, for the REAP grant? I'll have to take that, we got to do this separate motion, so.
Jack, what the Park and Rec Board, what was their input on this?
They're in favor of the trail system. We didn't specifically identify the next section, but they are...
Did they choose option 1 or option 2, or?
No, it was not given to them at this point. They meet next week,
Okay.
and this could wait until it was reviewed by them. I'd rather be a little bit early when applying for this grant than coming to you the day before and saying we need the resolution approved. So we probably do have some time, but they're in favor of the trail system.
And our preference between 1 and 2 has no bearing on that grant or the awarding of it?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, the grant, the reviewers of the grant, they maybe would prefer seeing not the one adjacent to the road. They maybe like to see some more safety precautions to be off the road.
Jerry, I had him put the two together for the report, because this is what he wants to apply for that grant for. So I thought since he was talking, I'd just let it get all the information out there together so you know where we're going.
It's just hard to see on the screen.
Yeah.
It is.
Jack, do you see any downfalls, or have you heard anybody say anything about having the off-street? I mean, it's cheaper, and it is more safe.
It's a little bit more safe, a little
Is there
cheaper. Golf
Right.
superintendent maybe has a little concern about the 13 tee box. And the green probably shouldn't be in play that much, 30 or 40 feet off the green, yeah. I've hit over the green 30 or 40 feet, but it's not a full swing shot where the ball's really coming in fast.
That was, I just wondered if you had any other down plays to it, because that's what I would prefer to see.
Yeah,
Because
no.
we've been out there several times, and there's always people on that path, and those cars sometimes come by pretty fast. I would prefer to be off
Yeah,
trail.
yeah.
That's
That would be my
fine.
preference, would be 1, 2.
I think safety comes first, yeah.
So I'll need a motion for the authorization of Region 12 Council of Governments to prepare and submit the REAP grant application to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Jerks?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's back now, Ben, we got to go back to the report, the trail, and do you want to table that until we hear from the Parks and Recs Board? Or would you like to make an,
Between the two options.
between the two options?
No, it is very heavily used and a lot of walkers out there. I think people, whether you're walking, you're jogging, you're riding a bike, being off-road is the way to go. And it's beautiful. It'll be a beautiful trail. And if Jack thinks that it's logical to extend what we're doing now, we're involved in now, and go north, that it may enhance our chances of getting a grant, this sounds like a good plan.
So that,
Talk about option
that'd be option one.
Option one would, yeah.
Well, it's also cheaper. And just to clarify, those trees back behind 11, 12, no, it'd be 13. Those would have to be removed back in the corner.
If you want to stay away from the green. If you want to be 60, 70 feet from the green, then you would remove those trees out by.
So this would go inside of that little,
Yeah.
okay.
Jack, when do you need to know option 1, option 2? How soon?
When you go out to bid, when you start design, so.
I guess I agree with Carolyn on safety, but, we have that Park and Rec Board there for a reason to do research for us, and I wouldn't mind having them do a little bit of the work.
Okay.
I concur. I'd like to hear the input from them also.
They'll meet next Monday, so I
Okay.
can report it back to you through Mike's weekly newsletter, or I'll assume that unless they don't like option 1 also, that we'll proceed with option 1. Is that okay? Or do you want it back? Or-
That's just what that committee was formed for, and we should use it.
Okay.
Is that sufficient for you guys? Okay. The next report is the Carroll Fest. And we have a request for alcohol in Graham Park. And then Hy-Vee has a request for alcohol in Graham Park. And then the Kent Kenobi Madison Ball Wedding. Laura.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll talk about all these kind of combined together, but we will need to take separate action on each one of them. So we've had 3 requests for alcohol in our parks. And the reason this is coming before council is because when an applicant applies for a liquor license through the state, part of the application requires that the applicant show that they have control or they have authorization from whoever owns the property that they can have the liquor license there. And since these are in our city parks, we need council approval to allow them to have that, and then the approval of the liquor license itself. So we have a request from CYP and Carroll Chamber of Commerce for their annual Carroll Fest that they've been holding for a number of years now, and that is in Graham Park on August 12th. Then we have a request from Hy-Vee for alcohol in Graham Park at the band shell for a customer appreciation being hosted by Commercial Savings Bank on August 3rd. And then the last one is a request for alcohol in Maple Park for a wedding, a private wedding at that facility on September 2nd. So if council has any questions, I know there are representatives for each one of these applications here tonight, so if you've got any specific questions, we could ask them.
I don't see any problems with them, but explain the 5-day Class B. What days does that mean they can set up beforehand and have a couple days after? I mean, they're only asking for 1 day. What, is that that's a standard?
Yes, it's.
So what 5 days do they get?
It's up to them on when they put it into the system.
Okay,
And they can choose which day they want to start, and then from that starting day, you get 5 days.
okay.
So a number of them usually choose the day or two before the event.
You guys got a 5-day wedding?
Wow.
Do you need, so you will probably need a motion separately for the use of the park, and then one separately to,
We can combine those
you
together.
can combine those together?
Yeah,
Okay.
but just taking each event
Each
separate.
separate. Are there any other questions for Laura? Any questions for anybody?
I just think it's nice that the people that, with the wedding, are coming forward and asking for this permission instead of just doing it, you know, that type of thing.
And each letter was very detailed, so we knew exactly
Yeah.
what is happening and when, and I appreciated that.
If there aren't any other questions, then I will ask for a motion for the first one for Carroll Fest, for the use of the Graham Park, to have a beer garden for Carroll Fest, and the use of a new 5-day Class B permit, including wine coolers and outdoor service.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
The second one is for Hy-Vee with, to serve alcohol in the band shell at Graham Park for customer appreciation event hosted by Commercial Savings Bank, and for a new 5-day Class B permit, including wine coolers and outdoor service.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Base?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And finally, the Kent Kenobi Madison Ball Wedding. Allow for alcohol to be served at the wedding reception at Maple Park, and the new 5-day Class C liquor license with outdoor service.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Congratulations. I have no comments this evening. Are there any comments from the city council? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay, you want to go ahead, please, maybe?
Cots?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.